many questions that I wanna ask, but I can't find the reasons why. You always find a small excuse to leave, but your excuse when you find the things I can't stay caught up so fast I couldn't break it. Now I'm staring down a bottle next Feeling when I'm with you. Do I weigh you down? Mm, Making me no good. I just don't like the sound. Free, make some room and get out of my face. I can't grow, I can't lose. So get out of my face. Oh, what you need is some- you don't know what I need. Where you be down. So the street, make some room and get out of my face. I can't grow, I can't lose. Don't get out of my you don't know what can't help the way I'm feeling. Can't tell the rhythms. I just don't try.
Alô? Oi? Bom dia. Que carajo. Que carajo. Olá, bom dia. Olá. Bom dia. Pessoal. Olá, bom dia. Bom dia. Pessoal, está com a tradução. Audífonos, please. Headset, please. Bom dia a todos e todas. Teste de tradução. Olá, bom dia.
Recording in progress.
Observadores e invitados, bom dia. Tradução para o inglês, ok? Levanta a mão. Francês, espanhol. Oh.
Hablen los idiomas no coloniales, excepto Wolof. Para los que están ahí detrás de la mesa, los intérpretes, los oyentes tienen que ponerse, como oyentes de inglés, tienen que ponerse en el cero.
Sí, ya le dije a Javier y Oscar.
Cuando hablen Wolof,
Me voy a comunicar con Ananda también, pero cuando hablan con Wolof, los que escuchan en francés tienen que ponerse en el canal 3. Hablo con...
¿sí?
Perfeito. Mais uma coisa? Mais uma vez, bom dia a todos e todas. Aqui tem uma jaqueta que esqueceram ontem, aqui na sala. Vou colocar aqui ao lado. Ah, põe na festa. Tem $100 aqui dentro. Já não tem mais $100, se foi o dono. Pessoal, sem mais delongas, bom dia a todos e todas. Nós vamos começar o dia. Hoje quem vai trabalhar a coordenação da mesa é o companheiro François, do Canadá, e vai ser apoiado pela Taylor, que vai acompanhar todos os trabalhos aqui da mesa. E o nosso dia hoje começa com a apresentação do vídeo que está sendo feito todos os dias, e vai ser feito agora a apresentação do dia de ontem e do dia de anteontem. 2 vídeos. Para que os companheiros que não tiveram a oportunidade de assistir ontem possam assistir agora. Entendido? Pessoal, pode passar.
Todos trabajando juntos podremos alcanzar nuestros objetivos y garantizar un objetivo para todos los legisladores y legisladoras, trabajadores y trabajadoras de la economía escolar.
Viva, viva cantadores, viva! Viva os recicladores, viva! Viva o Speak, viva! Pessoal, eu tenho aqui algumas pessoas que estão presentes, que não vão fazer composição de mesa e não vão ter fala devido à programação. E eu queria aqui nominar e agradecer um a um, ok? Nós temos a Maria, do Grid, a Rendel, que veio da Grécia. É a primeira vez que ela vem para a América Latina. Um aplauso, por favor. Nós temos o Eduardo, da GIZ, da Colômbia, que também está aqui presente nesse evento. Palmas, por favor. Dominique, do Solidarity Center. É porque meu inglês ainda está voltando a funcionar agora. Uma salva de palmas. Temos também.
We are also here with Felipe, Pamela, and Gigi, who are here present. A round of applause for them as well, please. Thank you. We also have allies of the waste speakers, Magdalena, Andrea, and Cecilia. Please, up. And we have somebody who is very important for our tasks related to plastic, the plastic duty, and she helps open the doors for waste speakers in all the official areas. Paulo from UNEP, which is the organization linked to the UN who discusses on plastic. A round of applause, please. There is a special request from the colleagues from Brazil. Please pay attention. I'm sorry for the voice, my voice. Brazil is facing very big catastrophe in Rio Grande do Sul. So I wanted to listen to with attention to the suffering of those people. So I wanted to say this. Thank you, Alex, Nina, Monica, who asked me not to forget to make this comment because we can send them good energies for for those people who are suffering right now.
I'm going to ask her to coordinate all today's process up to midday. Thank you very much.
Obrigada, Severino. Eu vou começar.
I'm going to start by introducing Francois Gentron from the Coopérative des Valoristes in Montreal from the North America region.
Hola. Oh. Voilà. Je vous demanderai de vous... Non, ici. Tout va bien? Vous m'entendez? Parfait. Désolé. Je vous demanderai de vous lever si vous êtes un récupérateur. Parfait. Regardez autour de vous. Regardez-vous les uns les autres. On est tous aussi différents. Nous sommes pareils, comme le monde qui nous entoure. Vous pouvez vous rasseoir. Merci. On va se réveiller.
We need to be up because it's the only opportunity where I was able to make the money I needed to earn a living. I survive now thanks to quick speaking. I can almost say that I live. As many among you, I was victim of discrimination. I come from Quebec. I was receiving threats while I was working. In the direction where I was working, anda a pedir que está muy saturado, no escucho nada. Sorry, this microphone is saturating. It's difficult to understand. In Canada, in the cooperative, we were fighting. If I talk about this, it's for the planet. I need to concentrate on the positive aspect in Montreal that enables us to work in the cooperative. The gentle lady or gentleman that gives me their stuff. Our situation in our work is not the same everywhere, but I believe that we have many more similarities and differences. After these days, I've listened to all your touching stories. And one of the most important things that I can retain is that whether we are in Montreal, in Buenos Aires, Africa, or Europe, whether we work in deposits or in the streets, we work hard, and that's what unites us. You are workers. You have the right to dignity, and you have the right to be acknowledged as such. I would like to add one more thing. Soon, many decision makers will have to understand that they need you, not that you need them. Today, we have 3 sessions dedicated towards work as waste pickers, the fundamental defense of the rights of waste pickers, the Organization for Decent Work and Just Transition, and then our global claims. As waste pickers, we were talking about the threats that we are faced with and the way that we can respond to those threats as allies, affiliates, as International Alliance of Workers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Francois. Welcome, everybody.
Merci infiniment, François. Bonjour, bienvenue à tous.
For the International Alliance of Waste Pickers and its affiliates. In addition, thank you so much, Severino, for introducing some folks, some guests who are in the room. We're also going to meet a number of other guests who will be up here presenting during the day. And I would also like to introduce Debbie Romero, who is here, who is a graphic illustrator and will actually be illustrating notes from the day today. She may come around to your tables and you can take a look at her work, but we will also be periodically putting it up on the screen today. So, you know, as my role with the International Alliance of Waste Pickers as the advocacy coordinator, one of the most important things that I do is to get the heck out of the way. So I'm going to do just that and start by introducing Nora Padilla and Amira Halabi. Nora Padilla from the National Association of Recyclers of Colombia, the oldest organization in Latin America, and our Africa and Amira Halabi, our International Alliance of Waste Pickers Africa coordinator. They're going to moderate. They're going to moderate this next section. So we will also ask for Sarika Vicas Caradar to come up, Alessandro, Katie Lindsay, Alejandro Mena, Divine, Graciela, Tanya, and Nora, you're already up here. So I will let them do the introductions and take it away from here. Thank you so much. Also, I do want to let everybody know that this session is being streamed today. So if anybody wants to watch from afar, you can look on the International Alliance of Waste Pickers social media for the streaming link. Okay. Comienza.
Okay, we're starting. Good morning again, everyone. Our session this morning is the first session on the Advocacy Day of the International Alliance. And it's a very important topic for the Alliance and for the struggle of many waste speakers that we've been engaged within the International Alliance. The title of this panel is Defending Our Rights with Dignity. Our main moderator of the session is our comrade Nora here. And just briefly about what is the objective and what we want to do through this session. In this session, we want to explore the threat and the challenges that are faced by the waste speakers all around the world, but as well, we want to explore all the great ways that those struggles were addressed by many waste speakers and by many waste speakers organizations that are sitting with us on the table here and by our allies. I will pass the speech to Nora to start and then to introduce our panels, and then we'll start presentation. Thank you.
Muy buenos días, apreciada compañerada. Es muy importante este panel y pues.
Good morning, everyone. This panel is very important because of what we are going to be developing today. It's basically our guide of the international management, but also national and local management. We also have some demonstrators that are going to show us about the strengths and weaknesses of our alliance and what we can do to move forward. In this panel, we will also draw some conclusions at the end of the panel. And our panelists, Sakira from KKPKP, India, Alexander from Reteune, Italy, Kata from USA, Alejandro Mena, Dividena Ponar, and Graciela Mora for a communications aspect. Daniel Espinosa from Mexico. We'll be talking about human rights. And finally, my presentation to talk about our experience. This panel is directed to make clear which are our constant threats. Our profession is under threat, serious threat, which is constantly growing, and it forces us to prepare ourselves to face these threats. Among these threats are violence against waste pickers everywhere on the streets, in landfills, dump sites, violence of the government against us, against private parties and corporations, or society itself against waste pickers. We also know that part of that violence, turns out to be fires on dump sites, or violence against our leaders or comrades. We live under constant restriction of use of public spaces, not just for street vendors, but for waste pickers as well. Waste pickers use public space constantly, and we have greater constraints as days go by. All over the world, our communities are reprimanded, and they work in unhealthy sanitary conditions, without dignity, and without essential living conditions. Climatic change, what's happening in Brazil today, all the floods, or the droughts, or the diverse climate phenomena, always impact the most vulnerable communities first, among them waste pickers. All of these threats, the underlying cause is racism, xenophobia, and in the colonialist ideology that comes from capitalism. That's why it's very important that we pay attention to today's presentations. And so we're going to give the floor to Sakira from KKP. Sarika. Sarika, you have the floor. Thank you.
And just a point of order, so while Sarika is speaking, for people that want to listen to her presentation in English, they can go to channel number 0, please. And Sarika will be presenting about defending waste pickers against police brutality, pursuing the extension of contracts for waste management provision of slum waste collection. Sarika, the floor is yours.
नमस्कार, माझं नाव सारिका विकास कराडकर आहे. मी इंडियामधून आलेले आहे. इंडियामध्ये मी पुणे शहरामध्ये राहते. मी स्वच्छ संस्थे आणि कागद कागदपत्र कष्टकरी पंचायतीमध्ये मेंबर आहे. नमस्कार, माझं नाव सारिका विकास कराडकर आहे. इंडियामधून आलेले आहे. इंडियामध्ये मी पुणे शहरामध्ये राहते. पुणे शहरामध्ये स्वच्छ आणि कष्टकरी पंचायत असा संघटना आहे.
Y tampoco al francés. I have to use this?
Just tell me when you... Radkar, I have come from India. Can you...
Please. Please. Sorry.
Good morning, my name is Sarika Vikas Karadkar.
But very little.
Yeah, the sound is
Like that, you are very close with me. That's why I'm listening.
Good morning, my name is Sarika Vikas Karadkar. I have come from India. I live in the city of Pune. I am a member of the organization. It is a trade union cooperative.
Hello. Wait. My sound is only disturbing me. Excuse me, its voice only giving loud when I speak. For me, it disturbs with my voice only. Hello.
English. No, it's English.
And Aditya, your voice is not listening. You are sitting very close with me only.
Pero se está oyendo aquí. O sea, estáis mandando este micro, ¿no?
Al revés. ¿Cómo se llama?
What's this language? Marathi. Marathi.
I'm speaking in English for Sarika. Can you hear? Good morning. My name is Sarika Vikas Karadkar. Check.
Can we continue? Okay.
Hello. Good morning. My name is Sarika Vikas Karadkar. I have come from India. I work and live in the city of Pune. I work in a cooperative called Swachh. I am a part of the Swachh cooperative, which does door-to-door waste collection in the city of Pune. We collect wet and dry waste, and we send the recyclables to the informal market. and we try as much as possible to compost the wet waste. Now I'm going to talk about how my organization worked on the path of just transition. Please change the slides. In the initial days, I'm just now going to talk about the days of struggle of waste workers earlier on. In the state of Maharashtra, there was a famine in the year 1972. Along with me, many waste pickers started migrating to different urban regions of the state. Some went to Mumbai, some went to Nasik, some went to Pune. Many of us came and settled in the city of Pune. My mother and my grandmother started living in the city of Pune after this famine to search for work, to search for food. But after coming to the city of Pune, what do we do? What do I do? I did not have any money. I belong to the Dalit community, which is discriminated. I realized that some people pick up paper, glass, metal, and are able to earn their livelihood. So this is what I learned and I started doing. We did not have any rights earlier. We did not have any benefits, any social protection. Because children did not have any documents, they also started collecting waste with their mothers and fathers. All of this was not easy at all because women were also young. A lot of us were young, and the police looked at us from a different lens. Police were used to look at us from a sexual. They used to eve tease us. They used to ask us to come watch movies with us. They would sexually discriminate. They would pass verbal comments on us. At the landfills where we used to work, there was heavy pollution. We would inhale methane gases. There was a big question in front of us about how do we combat this kind of discrimination from citizens, from police, from everyone in the society who would treat us very badly. If there were a theft in the neighborhood, the first doubt would be on us. I would want to talk about a true story now. Once what happened, this is a true story that I'm going to share, which happened with my fellow waste picker. One of the waste pickers, Chitrabai, was stopped by a police. There was a theft in the neighborhood and he asked her to empty her sack. She was tired from her days of work, long day of work. She emptied her sack on the street full of people watching. In that sack, it was just paper, glass, metal that I managed to collect. After that, what she did was remarkable. She said to the cop that she asked the cop to refill the sack. Whatever he had asked her to empty, she made sure that he was picking up every paper, glass, metal and put it back in the sack. These were some remarkable stories that gave us strength. In the year 1996, after we registered in the year 93, we fought against the municipal corporation, asked us to give us identity cards. Somewhere we wanted to stop the discrimination and violence against us, which is why many waste pickers heard about these stories about the union and started coming together. We would go to different slum communities. We would go to different waste pickers and tell them that this is what is happening. This is what we are doing in the union. We are able to do this because we are one, we are together. We have big numbers and our numbers are growing. So join us, be a part of the union. And this is how we started organizing and mobilizing every waste picker. So every waste picker who became part of KKPKP started visiting the police stations, gave the letter saying that you cannot harass us. We are part of a trade union. We are workers. We are authorized by the municipal corporation to collect the waste from the streets, and we have an identity card. So in the photo, you can see in the bottom left, a waste picker is holding an identity card, which was given by the municipal corporation of Pune. The first step was for the municipality to register us as waste pickers, authorize us. Then gradually we started advocating for medical insurance. The second big struggle after the ID cards was medical insurance. In the year 2002, Pune Municipal Corporation agreed to pay the premium of a medical insurance. Gradually, the population of the city started expanding. More people started coming to say, and obviously there was more waste on the street. Uh, the dumpsters were overfilling. Many people started getting into this occupation. The Pune Municipal Corporation and the KKP Trade Union together collaborated and decided to set up a cooperative called Swachh, because there were legislations and laws which mandated that the bins would be disappearing and doorstep collection would be mandated. And then we said that let us do the door-to-door waste collection. Don't bring in private players. We will change the manner in which we have been working. So then we started working on a push cart. Now we have a push cart where two waste pickers work together on a push cart. We collect wet and dry waste separately given to us by the citizens. In the dry waste category, we further segregate it into many varieties: plastic, paper, glass, metal. We also collect sanitary waste, which is marked separately in a paper, and the paper has a red dot on it. We have a push cart, as you can see. The push cart has been given to us by the Pune Municipal Corporation, and we go to every doorstep every day to collect wet and dry waste in the city of Pune. These are some photos that you can see. We not only do this waste collection in the city areas, we also make sure that the slum dwellers are also getting this kind of service. Many of the workers like us, like you and me, live in slums. Construction workers, domestic workers, street vendors, they all reside in the slum. And it's the slum dwellers who make sure that the city is functioning. And we wanted to make sure that every resident is treated equally and has access to a good quality waste collection. And by this, the slum residents, if a service is not provided, end up disposing waste outside, and there are chronic spots that are generated. So we started advocating with the municipal corporation, saying that we will not only collect from the city, but also from the slums. For example, I live in the slums. I go collect from the societies, but there's another waste picker who also collects in my area where I live in a slum. Working in slums is very, very difficult and very tricky because the citizens who live in slums do not manage to pay the user fees to us on time. So we spoke to the municipal corporation saying that at least 10% subsidy should be given by the municipal corporation who work in the slum areas. So till 2008, there was a 5 rupee slum subsidy, but we were not getting that. After 2018, the amount increased to 10 Indian rupees. In the doorstep collection, we were taking 25 rupees back then, and the municipal corporation was giving 5 rupees. So we were getting 30 rupees in all. After doing all these struggles, so working in slums is extremely difficult because the lanes are narrow, the pushcart does not go in, the tubs are heavy, wet waste generation is very high. Slum dwellers have to come out with their waste. Many private players have now started coming in, and the private players do not want to get into the waste collection in the slum areas. This is a big problem, but now our organization Swachh, we provide equitable services to every citizen. In slum dwellers, we work in 2 shifts, day and night, because the slum households are very small. They are not able to keep the waste overnight because there are rats and infestations and end up throwing out. So we have to collect in the morning as well as in the evening. And this has generated more employment for many people like me. Now what you see on the screen is that we did not limit ourselves only to dry and wet waste collection. We have also gotten into multi-layered plastic collection through APR-based models. So we have managed to push some companies to take back the plastic. For example, we are working with ITC in India to take back the chips packet in the multi-layered plastic. Similarly, we are working with organizations like Vayu to convert organic waste into biogas, which services some canteens, bedding halls. We also run cooperative scrap stores, which are run by the waste pickers themselves. We also, yesterday, when we all went to the facility, we saw how HDPE PET bottles were treated, were shredded, were made into pellets. So similarly, this is what we also do and have been doing in Pune. In the city of Pune, what I want to highlight here is that we did a study, calculated the greenhouse gases emissions in the year 2020, and the result of it was that we have saved 50,000 tons of carbon dioxide emissions every year because of the work of Swachh. I'd like to thank everyone for giving me an opportunity to speak here, all the Congress affiliates and staff and activists and delegates. These are the women, my fellow comrades, my workers. We are always together in spirit. This is only a small representation of the numbers that we are. We are 8,000 waste pickers in all, and this is a monthly meeting. Every meeting, representatives from different areas meet, discuss, deliberate, debate on the various issues that are in the organization, the waste pickers that they face, and this is how we are growing together. Thank you, everyone, for giving me the opportunity.
Okay. So thank you, Sarika Ben, for the presentation. We won't be able to have Q&As right away after this presentation, but if the time allows at the end of the session, we may take a couple of questions for our panelists. Next is Alessandro Stillo from Rete Uno. Alessandro will be presenting about defending against evictions from public spaces. Alessandro, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm going to speak in English.
One more note. So for people that are listening to English translation, please go back to channel number 2.
Just before the speech, to say hello, compañeras y compañeros, camarades, compagne et compagni, sister and brother from all over the world that you are here. This is an honor for me to stay here and to present the situation both of waste picker in Italy and the connection with Europe that is driving many things connected to waste picker in the last 30 years. We started, where is, this, okay. We started in the, no, this is before, wait. No, before, okay, no, okay, never mind. We started in the same way, in the sense that waste picking in the 60s in Italy was the same that in all over the world. Waste picker was looking for waste, for garbage, and to recycle and to reuse. So you see, this is a kind of a photo of one of the thousands of flea markets we have in Italy. So you see, are the same people. We are the same people all over the world, but the destination is different. Why is different? Because the turbo capitalism, the ultra capitalism in Europe means that all the recycling process is an industrial process. There are laws of European Union for what is mandatory to have consortium that recycle glass, plastic, iron, paper, and who is in charge to select the garbage are the citizens. In our city, in our all the cities in our house, we make the selection, and they the consortium that are mandatory come to take the plastic, to take the tires. We pay, when I was explaining, when you buy tires for cars in Europe, you pay an amount that is 2.5 euro because they are responsible to destroy after their use. So who is selling you the tires? It's mandatory that he take back the old tires and they send to the consortium. So what waste speakers are doing in Italy? They sell used stuff. They go in the waste and they pick what you can use: chair, t-shirt, books, glasses, everything, and they go to flea market to sell this. In Italy, we have more or less 70,000 of people that are selling in the street. Mostly of them are irregular. Authorities think that they are illegal because they sell on the street. We think that are irregular. They have to be regularized because we have the right to survive, to sell what we find on the street. So we ask to be regular. We are not against the law. This is one of the experience I want to talk you that is in Rome. It is of Roman gypsy markets. There is a long story of gypsy market in Rome that they fight against the administration. For 10 years, they had the right to make a market. As you see, those are two photos. This is our brother Aleramo that is in the board of Rete ONU. Now is 15 years that they are fighting. We are fighting with against the administration of the city because they don't give the permission to do market in Rome, to do this kind of market in Rome. So this is a kind of public space that they cannot use to survive. This is Torino, where I come from. This is a long story of fight and of dialogue also. Luckily, in Torino, we have a different administration. So we fight to have more space. We fight to stay in the center of the city. We lose this space. We have lost this space, but we have a big space, bigger. And the resistance of 2,000 of waste speakers in Torino make that now we have weekly, Saturday and Sunday, 800 seats to 400 Saturday, 400 Sunday. But the seats means 3,000–4,000 people living with this, because each place means 3, 4, 5, 10 people behind, and they are invisible people. That is the first point. The institution, the European Union, doesn't yet recognize waste speakers. So they are vulnerable and they are invisible. Nobody cares about that. We don't know, the people in the street, the citizen doesn't know what they are. But so this is a struggle for identity, first of all. It's a political struggle, because the identity of a person, that can be, what are you doing here? Especially 30% of the people in the markets are Romani people, gypsy. 30% are Italian people that was born in Italy. 40% are migrants. So the political issue is that they have an identity. They can say, I am a waste speaker. I bring from the house because they give me, it's a gift they give me when they change house, they give me the stuff. I bring from the waste and I sell in a legal way. Second is a social question. All these persons survive. They can live better with selling what they found on the street. Third, that is also important and nobody recognized, is an environmental issue. One market, this market, in 2 days a week, stolen from the waste 2,000 tons of garbage. So those are all objects that have a second life. They don't go to the garbage. People buy, people reuse, and this is super important. Last experience, and I want to ask a few words from Giulia Di Martino, because this is a fight that we are doing now in Palermo. Giulia comes from Palermo, is one of the more old market, the oldest market in Italy, the market of Ballarò, where there is a daily market of used stuff irregular. And we are fighting together to give an authorization to the association to make the market. So Giulia, if you want to say, may I ask to say something?
Thank you everybody. Just few words. I'm really honored to be here and to know such a powerful experience you shared to me. I want to bring the greetings of my association, which is like feminine-led association. We have like more than 50% of speakers are women. And yeah, just 2 words that it seems that it have nothing with the way speaking. I want to say that in Europe, we are talking a lot about reusing and prevention. And because in my opinion, the real revolution in Europe, in the so-called first world, the real revolution is to start a degrowth, is to reduce, is to turn off our industries, is to turn off the industries we built in your country, is to pay back what we stole from in all these centuries from your countries. And yeah, it's important to start to talk about degrowth. And I'm really glad to know more about popular economy, because this is a category we didn't know before very well, because we are really invisible. And turbo capitalism, as Alessandro said, it occupied everything. The capitalistic thoughts, it's in our DNA. And so it's really hard to find out political space to resist. And yeah, many thanks, and adelante.
So thank you very much for hearing us and to support just one thing. is what I was saying. I was in Palermo in December, and what I'm proud to say to the people is, you are not alone. We are not alone. You are not only in Palermo. You are not only in Italy. All over the world, there are people with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A nuestros presentadores porque se han portado muy bien con el tiempo.
Have followed the time assigned very well. Muchas gracias, Alessandro, Julia. Vamos a pasar a Katie del gobierno de Portland, Estados Unidos. Katie tiene una presentación que es sobre incidencia a nivel ciudad. Habla sobre la recolección. Katie nos va a hablar sobre las actividades que está haciendo la ciudad, especialmente para los recicladores. Hola, yo soy Katie Lindsay, trabajo en Oregon, en la ciudad de Portland, Estados Unidos, y voy a hablar sobre el trabajo de incidencia que hacemos para integrar a las comunidades de recicladores en los contratos de las ciudades. Este ha sido un proceso largo de 6 años más o menos. Llevamos en tratar de integrarlos en el sistema. Yo trabajo en Portland, que es la ciudad más grande del estado de Oregon. Tenemos un gran desafío con las personas, por ejemplo, que viven en la calle sin acceso a una vivienda digna. Tenemos uno de los más altos índices de personas en las calles. Y en 2006 creció mucho el número por la incapacidad de poder alquilar, entonces la gente cada vez más estaba en la calle. La ciudad empezó a invertir en sacar a la gente de los lugares públicos. Entonces, ese es uno de los desafíos que empezaron a vivir la gente que se quedaba sin casa. Hay personas sin seguridad, sin derecho a higiene, a agua potable. Por lo tanto, mi programa es tratar de intervenir y tratar de mitigar los problemas de la gente que vive en la calle. En el 2021 comenzamos un programa piloto en 4 calles en el que tratamos de abordar inicialmente a los recicladores que en 4 cuadras trabajaban y se juntaban los desechos de esos espacios. Y fue un programa tan popular que las personas lo empezaron a reconocer. Entonces se les pensó a dar, por ejemplo, a las personas que trabajaban chaquetas especiales. Tuvo más popularidad. Y parte de esto es porque los recicladores en Portland cubren una brecha que no hay otro sector que le esté cubriendo. Nuestros recicladores son ágiles, le dan calidad a los productos, trabajan en colaboración con la comunidad y se mueven hacia un ambiente sostenible. En Estados Unidos hay muchísimos residuos jurisdiccionalmente, entonces se puede llamar para que los quiten, pero a veces reciben, no podemos llevarnos ese tipo, por ejemplo, de basura, sino que tienen que llamar a otro departamento, y entonces es un sistema totalmente ineficiente el que se utiliza con los recursos del gobierno y se acumula así en las comunidades, muchos desechos en sectores públicos. Por eso los recicladores comenzaron a llenar estos espacios donde había muchas brechas. Empezaron a proveer un gran servicio porque se llevaban todos los desechos, por ejemplo, colillas de cigarrillos. Y quiero contarles un poco sobre el trabajo de incidencia.
So our current waste system is inflexible, costly, and excludes community members. The inclusion of our partner waste picker organization Groundstore has allowed the city to provide waste collection services to our unhoused community members. They provide a higher level of service, not bound by jurisdictional limitations, in a more environmentally sustainable way. They also collaborate with our community and provide waste management education. This stacking of services prevents problematic behaviors such as burning or dumping without an increased cost to the city. This education also prevents the need of folks without waste service to dump or burn their waste, since they know when to expect somebody to come and remove their garbage. In Portland, our strategic plans are our government's agreed upon priorities for a set period of time. In submitting proposals to the city, we have aligned all of our proposals with municipal goals and strategic plans. Our programs are designed and proposals are written to support waste picker work in our community, but they also provide compounding benefits. For example, investing in our waste picker organizations aligns with our city's strategic priorities of removing waste in public spaces, increasing sustainable practices, building equity and inclusion into procurement practices, and increasing public safety outside of the use of law enforcement. It also aligns our expressed values with our budgetary spending. Prior to submitting proposals, I meet with key partners in all of these areas to gain support or to hear concerns. And this might mean meeting with a person who works in our Bureau of Environmental and Sustainability. They're tasked with like river water runoff into the ocean. And so I'll meet with them and share our proposal and ask for their feedback, ask for any concerns. When I submit the proposals, I include these meetings in a reference sheet with the proposal. Sometimes I often will email the proposal to my political office and I'll copy all of the people that I have met with. And then I reach out to them individually and I ask that they respond with their support for the process. And that's been really key in getting agreements in our proposals, has been showing that the legwork has been done in stakeholder agreements. And then the other significant piece of our work is that we include social protections in all program proposals and contracting. The city would never contract with an organization that did not provide those, and so it only makes sense that we include those social protections in the program proposal when we make the proposal. The City of Portland's contract with our partner waste picker organization is cost effective for the city. To prevent the exploitation of this efficiency of work, social protections are written into the proposal and agreed upon budget that's presented to city government. Since the beginning of our program, we've included a scale version of sick time, so our workers get the same sick time rate that I do as a government worker, on par with the hours that they've worked. Workers also receive PTO, I believe, when they're full-time, and inclement weather funds. So if they miss work due to weather conditions, they're still compensated for their time. Right. Our program is called Glitter, and our Glitter teams have collected over 1 million pounds of trash in fiscal year 2022 to 2023. The City of Portland has a finalized contract. It's waiting on a stamp from the City Attorney's Office to provide, it's a $4.5 million US contract over 5 years for our waste picker organization in the City of Portland. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Katie. So from talking about Katie's advocacy work within from a municipal point of view, working with the waste picker organization. We're going to Alejandro Mena from Anarch, Divine Deconar from Pone Landfill Waste Pickers Association, Ghana, and Graziella from the IAWP Communications. They will be talking about the fire reports and reporting a little bit about the fires and the waste pickers around the world. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Esta presentación la vamos a estar haciendo Alejandro y yo en español y Divine.
This presentation will be done by Alejandro and myself in Spanish and Divine in English. As communications advocate for the Alliance, one of the first things that we wanted to do was a report of every site that was undergoing fires in recycling infrastructures. As you all know, I'm sure you've all experienced this in your work sites. Some of the places where we find fires reported by you. Do we have any problems with the interpretation? Is everyone listening in the English channel? So some of the places where we were receiving fire reports were in Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, South Africa, Kenya, Turkey, India, and Indonesia. I'm sorry, we're going to check the interpretation. And so effectively, these are some of the regions where we found that fire reports had been issued. So from the communications team, we wanted to conduct a survey as regards what region was affected, what was burned, and if there were some replies on behalf of the government. So now we are going to see some pictures about some of these incidents, and then we're going to hear some testimonies and round up with an analysis of the situation. As you know, we always have more questions than answers, but these are some things as to regards what the Alliance can do. So this is a picture of one of the fires in India. This is in Argentina. This is in Uruguay, South Africa, Kenya, Turkey, Indonesia. This is the Patacon Mount in Panama. And now Divine is going to tell us about this fire that affected the population and the organization that they worked with.
My name is Divine from Ghana, and I'm very honored to be here to speak about the happenings in our region. We know fire has been a major challenge globally when it comes to the site of waste pickers. In recent time, we have experienced a lot of fire at our end. Not about a month ago, in the afternoon, we were told there was a fire at the dam site where waste pickers store their materials. So it was on Sunday, and unfortunately, we don't work on Sundays. So we need to rush and see what is happening. And lo and behold, before we got there, we realized that every item that we store got burnt into ashes. More than 200 of our pickers lost everything they stole. And unfortunately on this, since last year, July, we are not having any market for our materials, especially plastics. So we store a lot of materials down before this unfortunate happened. But when we make complain about the happenings and we are placing demand from the government, they were asking whether we put the fire ourselves, whether we are responsible for it, and we're asking, how can we put fire in our own house where we are living? That cannot be possible. So if there's any way they can assist us, they should be able, because we have the ages in our midst who takes about 2-3 months before they'll be able to gather something and sell. And they lost all these things just in a minute. So you can see how devastating that situation will be for the waste pickers. So we are looking at a point where the Global Alliance, as we are coming together, whether there will be a form of source or any financial support that will be allocated in the Global Alliance to support these vulnerable who lost their materials. Because we know we live on a daily income. So when we lost our materials, the meaning we lost our earning, we lost what we used to feed our family, what we used to take care of ourselves, we lost all those opportunities. And we also want to highlight that when we come to fire, it does not recognize the rich and the poor. It affects everybody. Previously, we had an incident which destroyed almost our place of residence, and 2 lives were lost, but we've never received any support from the government. No, the municipality have no speakers, and it's very devastating moment in the life of we speakers. But coming to this Congress, putting all our ideas together, we hope and believe that the International Alliance will stand to the task by mobilizing support for the victims and their families during this difficult moment. So I would like to end here by saying, in a few years to come, we want to see more progress in the life of waste pickers, especially when this emergency occurs, so that we can maintain and sustain our life. Thank you very much.
Buenos días.
Good morning. My name is Alejandro. I'm from Chile. I belong to the International Waste Pickers Alliance of Chile. I am the General Secretary of the organization. I also work in an organization for the communications area for waste pickers of the Caribbean, and I work on international communications representing the LARE network. I have, in the communications area, seen many communication of fires in waste picker sites from Africa, from America, from Asia, and we don't have more than the information that we receive at the moment, and there's no record of fires. But I am going to speak about one situation that happened in Chile, and the specifics of this fire is that it didn't happen in any landfill or dam site, but it was the result of a forest fire that destroyed forest and waste pickers' homes. Valparaiso is located at 150 kilometers away from the Chilean capital, and this forest fire destroyed 43,000 hectares of forest and urban structures. There was 143 dead people, 6,000 to 8,000 homes completely burned down and destroyed. And it was one of the greatest tragedies that we had in Chile. In this fire, 110 waste picking families were directly affected. This tragedy is what motivated us to organize a campaign on a national and international level. On an international level, we didn't receive a lot of responses. On a national level, we received some replies. That's why we want to take advantage of this moment to call the Alliance to action so that we can have records of the fires that have already taken place, the losses caused by those fires, the consequences, and data. And this is super important as a starting point. And then we also suggest the executive body of the Alliance to have a committee, a well-being committee that takes these matters directly into consideration with all of the statistics in order to be able to respond not after the fire, but maybe before with some prevention measures, because the cost of a fire is too high. There's a social cost and infrastructure trust. What happened in the Petecon Mountain affected the whole area and it paralyzed the city because the pollution, the aftermath of that effect was terrible. I just wanted to take advantage of the situation to extend my regards to my Chilean comrades, Argentinian comrades, and the message that our new executive body cannot work without our support. So let's remember that we represent 20 million waste pickers. We are waste pickers and we owe their jobs to our waste pickers. Thank you.
Thank you, Graciela, Alejandro, and Divine. Now we're going to Tanya. Tanya will be talking about human rights perspective to defend waste pickers.
Muchísimas gracias. En WIGO tenemos un proyecto que es sobre
In WIGO, we have a project on waste pickers and human rights. It's a project that began in 2016 from an analysis that we conducted with Nora, who is also here in this panel, and some other waste picker colleagues in Bogota. And this continued with a series of visits to 3 different countries, Nicaragua, Guatemala, and the Dominican Republic with our colleague Silvio, and the LACRE network in order to be able to record and document what was happening with waste pickers and seeing the human rights infringements that was happening in the areas with the objective of convincing the International Human Rights Court to introduce this topic in their agendas. It's very important to explain that the International Human Rights Commission is the biggest human rights court in DC, and they are acquainted with the different occupational groups in the region, but they had never explored what was the situation of waste pickers in these areas. This is why we extended this analysis, documentation, and visits to other countries of the region. We have now done recordings and registries of more than 16 countries, and we achieved to record many environmental human rights aspects, and we had members of the Human Rights Commission's visit different regions. For example, in 2022, we organized a visit with the rapporteur to Lima, Peru, Maria Elena, here present, joined us, and also with Jenny last year, we visited Panama, we went to the Patacon Mountain. We met with waste pickers to understand what was happening, their situation. These waste pickers explained all the challenges that they faced on a daily basis, and it's what we need to address. This is just a mapping of what's happening in Latin America. And when we actually listen to comrades from other regions, we understand that the challenges that waste pickers faced are very common, basically the same all over the world. So that's why I would also like to explain that one of the reasons as to why we considered strategic that the Human Rights International Commission have this topic on their agenda is that we had the suspicion that the challenges that waste pickers were facing didn't have anything to do with a specific government or party. It had to do with the profession itself, with being a professional waste picker and everything that that profession implies. And so we found different aspects in which their human rights were being infringed. But one of the common grounds that we see is the lack of safe and healthy working conditions. We see that all over the world. Another commonality is restriction to access of waste in different cities. Even if the law does not forbid recycling, the law is made so that waste pickers cannot access the recycling material, the closing down of landfills or dump sites without any previous notice, and also sometimes disproportionate use of force against waste pickers, a threat of constantly introducing incineration, burning down of a residue, which would generate an impact of the access to recycling material by waste pickers, and this would truly damage their daily income. And we see that there are public policies that go against inclusive waste picking, because in practice and in reality, these are non-inclusive public policies without including waste pickers on the agenda and the absence of growth within the value chain. There are no laws to regulate the circular economy and does not allow waste pickers to access recycling residue. And we constantly see that big corporations are economically benefited, which are then reintroduced into the supply chain. And those corporations do not benefit the people that are working for them, the waste pickers. So how does this translate into human rights infringement? Governments have the responsibility of behaving in a certain way for the citizens of their territory. And so we need international agreements on human rights. They need to be ratified. Within the rights, we talk about the right to work. There's no instrument that says that only people who work in formal economy should have labor rights. Work is work. It doesn't matter if the work is formal or informal. Everyone is a worker, and who is a worker should be granted labor rights. Also, the right to a healthy environment. The right to a healthy environment is not guaranteed because there is no accurate management of residue or garbage, and it's waste pickers who usually guarantee the government by providing their basic service, their basic work. They contribute to a healthier environment, a greener environment. Waste pickers do a major work in providing services to preserve the environment. And so as workers who provide services, they should be granted the category of professional workers. Instead, they are hunted down by the government and they are looked down upon by the government. Through management of waste picking, the government should guarantee the right to health of the population, of health insurance. Nobody is guaranteeing health insurance to the waste picking population. So this implies a risk for waste picking. Life with dignity, right to a life with dignity. There's a series of principles for companies and human rights. I'm not going to go deep into this at the moment, but this should make that governments should force companies in their territory to behave in a certain way so that they value waste pickers' job without any infringement to human rights, and have an action plan that if they identify infringement to human rights, then they should perform corrective actions, and they should pay compensation to waste pickers for working in unhealthy conditions. Our expectation regards what we're doing with the Inter-American Commission of Human Rights. We had two major accomplishments last year. On May 1st, I know that on May 1st here you had a march and you went to it, but last year this Inter-American Commission for Human Rights issued a notice for waste pickers acknowledging their profession and making it very clear that this profession should have all of their rights guaranteed to any worker. And last year, we also held a public audience with Jenny in representation of the Red Lacre, where we explained the situation. And so the commission this year included officially in their work plan the documentation provided by us as regards the human rights of waste pickers. And we are going to conduct a series of visits this year and next year with the new rapporteur for the economic, social, and cultural rights of the Inter-American Human Rights Commission. So by 2025, we want to publish a report establishing the minimum standards of behavior towards the treatment that they should have with waste pickers. This document is going to enable everyone, not just you or us or we, defining waste pickers. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias por tu gran presentación. Para continuar con la agenda, tenemos a Nora, quien es la presentadora.
So Mora will have around 20 minutes, 15 minutes to 20 minutes to present. And with Nora, she will be presenting the experience in resisting the threat, but as well, she will be showing a roadmap as well as a strategy, as an alliance about how we are going to continue resisting those threats from a global perspective. Is that right, Nora?
Gracias. Es una presentación muy sucinta porque, como se pudieron dar cuenta en el transcurso del panel, todos hemos ido confluyendo hacia un mismo mapa de advertencia de las amenazas y también de los caminos posibles de recorrer. De hecho, creo que es importante mencionar que las amenazas no están solo sobre los recicladores, también sobre el oficio, porque en el momento en que se ofrece en muchos países la incineración, pues el insumo para la incineración son los materiales que nosotros recogemos. Entonces, también hemos creído que es necesario consagrar en algunas de las filminas que tenemos debilidades como gremio y por lo tanto también tenemos que trabajar sobre ello. Es decir, tendremos que trabajar en la visualización de las amenazas, pero también en las debilidades internas. Por lo tanto, esta presentación busca dejar una advertencia a las
Wants
bases
to shed light on the organization of our union, because if we are warned, we won't die in war. And we have been in this war for 4 decades. So the organization of waste speakers is not only necessary but urgent, because we have seen, as Sakira mentioned, the organization that achieved many improvements for individuals and for all the collective is this organization that represents a lot of numbers. And we, with this assembly, are represented like 500,000 workers, but we still have 19 million people to be integrated. Our organization has to be representative locally, domestically, regionally, and internationally. So we are looking for more people to be integrated in the alliance. Now, the affiliates have to be waste speakers, and they have to be working permanently. That is, they have to be working on the field with other waste speakers, and it has to be a waste speaker, and it needs to have a special orientation. As we saw, our mission is to be recognized socially, economically, and environmentally. Our work is under threat because if we hadn't been receiving threats, we wouldn't have organized ourselves. But as you see, we received threats when the collection of rubbish was privatized. Then in the streets, we are not able to use public spaces without being pushed away, so we cannot access certain waste. And also we face threats after threats, and we have